All right, hello Twitch, hello YouTube. How we doing? How we feeling today? Welcome to the show. It's been a minute, but it's good to be back. I am Jimmy Moreland, voice actor, audiobook narrator, and music producer. Let's move things around a little bit, shall we? Man, it is great to be back. I took a couple days off because I needed them, and I hope that you do the same when you need them. And but we've had some. That's not to say I wasn't busy. We got out an audiobook. We started a lot of work on a new audiobook. Things are coming in quick and fast, and we're having a great time. So I hope that you're excited and ready to get some work done today. We're going to be doing like we always do on the stream here, and that is voiceover auditions on the big casting websites, the pay-to-play sites as they're called. That'll be voices.com and voice123.com. And then we'll go ahead and take a look over at ACX, the Audiobook Creation Exchange, and see if there's anything interesting there for us to take a look at. But for right now, here's what we're going to be looking at. That is Pro Tools on the left here, and then our websites on the right. So let's stop wasting time because we've had some auditions roll in just in the past few minutes here. America the Beautiful. Already 10 responses in line ahead of us, and we just got this. It's sort of, okay, reading this as poetry, kind of, we see stuff like this all the time, so let's just do this. Evocative, nostalgic, patriotic, aspirational, with some gravitas. Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. Yeah, that's all we're going to give them. I thought of like trying to give like a different kind of read, but they're going to know if that's what they want or not. I was trying to give a little bit more of a casual, I don't want to say the Matthew McConaughey read, because that's obviously not what that was, but something between maybe a McConaughey and a John Hamm read, maybe. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. America, not American. Beautiful. And there we go. Bounce that out. I know I'm moving quick. Oh, I know I'm moving quick on this because, you know, that's how we got to do. But if you have any questions about any part of this process, I'm happy to slow down a little bit and explain what I'm doing there. But otherwise, we're here to make money. This is, yeah, I hope that it's educational. I hope people, like, you know, get some interesting things out of this. But at the end of the day, this is my job. And so we got to be quick here. Real person, believable, conversational, something about delivery guys. We're not going to read it too much because we want the opportunity to give a nice cold read. So we're going to go ahead and do that right now. Our delivery guys are always there when you need them. Our delivery guys are always there when you need them. No matter when you need them. Need them? Should I do that for that? Our delivery guys are always there when you need them. No matter the weather, the season, or the barriers, we're there delivering personalized service with a smile. Not all heroes wear capes. Some carry a dolly and a clipboard. Beverages delivered right to your door. Beverages delivered right to your door. We're going to take parts of that last line and stitch them together. I think the last way I said beverages was good, but like the first or second way I said the rest of it was good. So there's the beverages. Make a cut there, and then this is how I think I'm cutting this. Maybe like this, and then here that goes like that. Let's listen to just this part. Carry a dolly and a clipboard. Beverages delivered right to your door. A little bit more of a gap. Beverages delivered right to your door. Cool. All right. Yeah, that's all good. Delivery guy, sure. Delivery guy. All right. There we go. Next up. Voiceover of the teasers of a facility management company. Budget is really low. I mean, I feel like I've seen this client before. Obviously, I haven't done anything for them, but I feel like I see them pretty frequently. It's quite a low budget. PM community and start your journey. Whatever. Let's do it. We're here. We're on the stream. Let's go for it. Very dynamic and inspirational. Would you like to join the VEPM community and start your journey with the project management fundamentals? Close. Would you like to join the VEPM community and start your journey with the project management fundamentals? With the project management fundamentals, this training is designed for you. Check the Academy portal. Check the Academy portal to sign up for the next session. All right, we're gonna have to cut that together. Usually we like to do punch and roll, but sometimes it just don't work out that way. I think here, let's listen. Community and start your journey with the project management fundamentals. This training is designed for you. Check the Academy portal to sign up for the next session. It's designed for you. Check the Academy portal to sign up for the next session. All right. That's simple. VM, PM. So we are very much fully into the swing of another audiobook, and this is a really fun one. It's a, I'm reading book 9 of a series, and we're already making plans to move forward with the next few books in the series, so that's really exciting. Should be a lot of fun to do this stuff. Oh, not that one, just general, please, thank you. So yeah, it's been really fun getting into this book. It's a cool series. It's kind of scary taking over a series from another narrator, especially such a talented narrator as who was reading this series before me. But it's a new challenge, and it's going to be fun. Let's take a look here. In this campaign, okay, we've got a reference. Love it when a client includes a reference video, so let's take a look at it. Should be able to hear it.
There he is. Meet your date. Tonight's special feature is the man sitting next to you.
Okay, we get it. Okay. It wants comedic, big, deep voice. All right. We've got a loud truck passing by, and it's gone. You might have had big plans. You might have had big plans for today. You might have had big plans for today, but the AC is out wasn't on the agenda. You might have had big plans for today, but the AC is out wasn't on the agenda. You might be telling yourself, AC is out wasn't on the agenda. You might be telling yourself, we have got to replace that old system. AC is out wasn't on the agenda. You might be telling yourself, we've got AC is out wasn't on the agenda. You might be telling yourself, we have got to replace that old system. You need to get things under control. We've got to replace that old system. You need to get things under control. You need something reliable. You think, hey, does their brand have... We've got to replace that old system. You need to get things under control. You need something reliable. You think, hey, does their brand have HVAC? We need more information to really nail the read on this, I think. Sometimes a client will give a script that, and we're not going to spend 20 minutes doing script analysis. That's not the job. That's not what we're here to do. So in lieu of that, we're just going to give our best shot. And upgrades and upgrades. So we're giving it our best shot that we can do quickly because that's the job. The job is to do this quickly, not to do it perfectly. Perfect is no good. If they wanted perfect, they would use an AI voice. So we're in the business of doing things quickly and good enough, because good enough, I don't mean that in a derogatory manner. Good enough is good enough. We've worked for a long time to get good at our job to where good enough can be done very quickly. This is a great budget, although it might not be great for what it is. If it's a national television ad, what's the market? See this? Okay, so we could do. So this is annoying. Manitou. If the name of your brand is potentially if it's unsure, if it's there's a word I'm looking for, but I can't find it. If it's unsure, like how to pronounce the name of your brand or your product or your service or whatever, give us a fucking pronunciation guide. Give it just something. So that's super obnoxious. Another thing that's extremely obnoxious is that we don't have more information about. Oh, wait, here we go. Television ad regional 1 year. This seems like a good budget, but once you start asking questions about, okay, regional, what's the region? Like, clearly, this is like, I guess, Great Lakes area, maybe? I don't know. Like, what's the region? Because if this is like New York, then this is not an appropriate budget. Voiceover for commercial gets paid by usage, and it's an opportunity cost. That's the reason, one of the reasons for budgets that increasingly get higher and higher, because for this 1 year, in whatever region this is, for that 1 year, you can't do any conflicting jobs, any jobs in the same industry. So all of this, like industrial loaders, forklifts, stuff like that. So like if you do this job and then 6 months later, Caterpillar comes calling, or John Deere, or those are the other ones, Cat, which I guess is probably Caterpillar. Anyway, if one of the big heavy machinery companies comes and goes, man, I really love your voice. We want to give you $1 trillion to do this thing. You have to go, I'm conflicted out for another 6 months because I did this job for only $1,250. And keep in mind, this is voices.com. They take an additional 20% off the top of this number. So it's only $1,000. So there's an opportunity cost there of what you are potentially giving up when you do a job like this. So whenever it's television or radio, keep that in mind. Conflicting yourself. Conflict is how they talk about it in the industry. It's only for television and radio. For non-broadcast, for online ads, things like that, conflicts are not a thing. People don't really care. But TV and radio, absolutely they care, and you could actually get into huge trouble if you misrepresent or forget or lie about potential conflicts you may have running on the air. Anyway, we're not going to do this one. There's too many people in line ahead of us, and we don't know how to pronounce that word, and we're not going to spend 10 minutes searching and trying to find someone pronouncing that word correctly. So moving on, let's see. We've got an email, and it's a Voice123 email. We start on voices.com because voices auditions are very time sensitive. Like, you need to get to them quickly in order to be heard. Whereas Voice123, the way they send out auditions is really kind of janky, and that just makes it to where, like, timeliness is not as important on Voice123 as it is on Voices. So we just got that email about a Voice123 gig, but we don't care about it for right now. We're going to do our Voices jobs first. Let's take a look here. Super, super low budget. And remember, that number is going to be even lower after Voices is through with it. I can't do the math immediately in my head, but it's going to be like $60 in your pocket, basically. So we're going to pass on that one. Next up, 70 people in line in front of us. This is another spot where you're conflicting yourself out for 2 years on radio. And what's the category, though? What is this? Sports something. Sports enthusiast. Da-da-da. Gear up for Penn State football. Okay. So this might be like narrow enough that you might be okay. Though if you're from the Pennsylvania area, then you really might not want to conflict yourself out based on, based on what your opportunities might be. If you've got a great voice for sports promo, then $800 again. Do some math. That'd be $640 after the 20% is gone. $640 for 2 years of conflict. Man, oh man, I don't know about that. It could be a great, ongoing relationship that you might want to like develop and maintain, the family clothesline. I don't know if that's the store or what it is, but it might be something that you're interested in. But man, 2 years of being conflicted out of a whole category. If that's your region and you want to specialize in that, that's tough, man. 2 years. But if you're based in Oregon, and if they don't care about like a super narrow specific accent, which, unless they're wanting Easttown or something like that, Mayor of Easttown, that kind of Pennsylvania accent, then they might not care. I don't know. It's something you got to consider. You got to make those decisions for yourself. These American Red Cross jobs, they're great jobs and everything, and if you can get them, that's awesome. I don't have a telephone demo, and so I always show up as a 90% voice match, and so I just don't have a good track record with getting these jobs, so I'm gonna go ahead and pass. And I also don't like the copy. It's they're wanting like, oh, make it conversational, but it's the most salesy, like classic, hard sales pitch copy that you've ever seen, and so I'm just like, and here's another one of those same things, American Red Cross, and here's another one, American Red Cross. Those are good jobs, like decent paying jobs for these short little phone things, but man, it just doesn't really work so much. Okay, what is this? What is this? Montanans. So, okay, let's see here. I need to double. Who is Tim Sheehy? Who the hell is this person? Please show me a Ballotpedia, something. Thank you. Who the hell is this? Okay. So on this stream, this is not a political stream. However, this is a voice acting auditions stream, and politicals are an entire genre of voiceover work. And that is something that I'm interested in. I enjoy doing politicals. It's very important in politicals that you have to pick a side. So pick whatever side is the one that appeals to you, and that's what you have to do. 30 years ago, you could absolutely do both sides of the aisle. You absolutely cannot do that anymore. You need to pick a side and stick with it. I have picked my side. I know who I want to work for and everything. And on this stream, we will occasionally read ads if it aligns with what I feel. We are not going to talk about the merits of how I feel or don't feel. I'm not going to talk trash about the other side. None of that. This is a professional space where we are talking about the craft. We're talking about how to approach different kinds of copy. So that's what we're doing here. And I can say that this right here is something that I'm interested in reading based on my very quick bit of research here. Now, it's interesting. It's interesting that they're not saying that they want specifically someone from Montana. Usually for politicals, they try to be extremely authentic in their casting. So if it's a spot from Montana, which this is, you would kind of expect like, hey, we need talent that's based in Montana. But here they're not doing that. So, and they didn't give us a lot of information about voice notes or anything like that. And that's okay. On Voices, you can Voices is very much a throw whatever you want at the wall and see what sticks. And there's no penalty for doing that, really. So we're going to go ahead and just read this as this is it's an attack ad, but it's not over the top. It's not this. It's not like this is the worst person ever. It's just like a, hey, this person's not great. So we're gonna go ahead and just read this in a sort of in our attack ad voice, but again, not over the top. Let's give it a shot. Montanans win the right way. Montanans win the right way. Montanans win the right way through hard work, grit, and clean competition. How does Tim Sheehy win? The shady way. Hiring lobbyists, secured. So we've got a major like grammatical error here that's going to make this difficult to read. Let's edit what we've got while we figure out how we're going to approach that. Montanans win the right way through hard work, grit, and clean competition. How does Tim Sheehy win? The shady way. Hiring. Okay. So we got to figure out how we're going to. Hiring lobbyists. Secured huge taxpayer-funded contracts that. They don't match. This doesn't. There's no logical through line for how these sentences are constructed. This fragment is hiring lobbyists. That's the gerund, the active present progressive tense, and then the next sentence is past participle, secured. Past participle, right? Simple past, whatever. Secured huge taxpayer that he used to be. So like. Are we present progressive or are we past tense? What are we doing? Hiring lobbyists. I'm gonna insert the word he. Hiring lobbyists. Hiring lobbyists. He secured huge taxpayer. Okay, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Did he win? The shady way. Hiring lobbyists. He secured huge taxpayer-funded contracts that he used to pay himself millions. When shady Tim Sheehy wins, Montanans. When shady Tim Sheehy wins. Let's edit what we've got again and figure out how we're gonna self millions. Yeah, was to pay himself millions. When shady Tim Sheehy wins, Montanans lose. Was to pay himself millions. When shady Tim Sheehy wins, was to pay himself millions. When shady Tim Sheehy wins, Montanans lose. Okay? So we'll do that. Millions. When shady Tim Sheehy wins, Montanans lose. All right. So this is a 15-second, and we are at 21 seconds here. That's fine. If they like your voice, they'll say, hey, great, can you cram it into 15 seconds? They're going to trust that you are a professional and that you can do that. The point of the audition is to get the job. Once you get the job, then you can do that. So let's give them this. What am I doing here? Shady Sheehy, right? Reply. Do this. Boom. 390, and there we go. And submit. Yeah, no reason to try to, frazzle yourself trying to fit something in into a time limitation for a. It looks like this is probably the same client here. Yeah. Oh, it's the same damn. See? On that last one, I inserted the word he, and that's exactly what they do in the 30-second. They just they were a little bit quick in their chopping this up to cut it down to 15, and they just chopped out this word he, which they need. I could start off with the 15 that I recorded and alter it, but no, we're just going to record the entire thing new. So let's give them this here. Montanans believe in winning the right way through hard work, grit, and clean competition. How does team... Let's give this a proper grit and clean competition. Let's give this again a little bit more. We're going to go a little bit more, not over the top, but when you're doing attack ads, the word that most commonly sort of gets thrown about in direction and specs and things is disgust. So we're going to be disgusted here. Montanans believe in winning the right way through hard work, grit, and clean competition. How does Tim Sheehy win? The shady way. He hired lobbyists and even started his own lobbying group, secured huge taxpayer funded contracts. Then used that money to pay himself millions. If Tim Sheehy wins, he could secure even more government contracts. Money to pay himself millions. If Tim Sheehy wins, he could secure even more government contracts for his company. Money to pay himself millions. If Tim Sheehy wins, he could secure even more government contracts for his company with no one to stop him. Montanans know better, and we won't let Tim Sheehy keep taking our gold. When shady Tim Sheehy wins, let's take it. Actually, that is something that we're going to take from the prior take. So let's go ahead and do a quick edit here. That's all good. This is a good edit point. That one's fine. There was one near the end here that I think I'm going to need to... Okay, here we go. Tim Sheehy keep taking me with no one to stop him. Montanans know better, and we won't let Tim Sheehy keep taking our gold. Okay. Really? I didn't have any other stumble there? Lobbying group secured huge himself millions. If Tim acts for his company with no one to stop him. Montanans know better. Okay. So now we're going to go over here, and I think it's just this bit here, right? When shady Tim Sheehy wins, Montanans lose. There we go. All right. Let's do this so that we get a nice clean edit point there. Right? Taking our gold. When shady Tim Sheehy... There we go. Bounce this out. Call that 130. Reply. There it is. 3090. And turn that off. Send the response. Clear all you guys out. Duplicate this one. Good to go. All right. Next up. 30 people are clamoring for this $50 job, which again, remember, that's only a $40 job. No, I'm good, thank you. Thomas Sumter History Stations. So is this a guided tour type thing? We see a lot of those. A large part of our audience will be elementary school children. 48 people in line in front of me. We're getting into jobs that have been up for a couple of days, like through the weekend. Here I'm only at a 90%, and it's a sports-related thing. I don't have a sports voice. I'm not a sports guy, so I haven't been immersed in that style of delivery for my whole life. So let's see. JPSC for, what? Who? I mean, yeah. Generally, I don't have a moral qualm with anything like gambling or casino related or sports betting or whatever. But, I mean, it does feel kind of scummy. Like, the act of participating in sports betting and all that, I think is fine. I don't think there's anything scummy about the act. But the advertising feels so scummy, you know? It's not for me, I don't think. Yeah, literally 100 people in front of us in line on this one. Again, decent budget. Radio and television in perpetuity? Fuck this. Nah. What's the region? Unless the region is like, you know, the Azores or fucking the California Department of Aging. So you wouldn't be able to do anything related to any of this in the state of California, which is famously a pretty big media market, for radio or television in perpetuity. Report. Missing or incorrect. Radio, TV in perpetuity for all of California? Like, before you get dollar signs in your eyes thinking like, oh my God, voiceover, that's like, oh, this is the easy ticket to be rich. You got to learn some things about the industry. Before you think like, oh, like, you know, $1,000 to $1,250. Again, take 20% off of that. It's really $800 to $1,000 for in perpetuity conflicting yourself out of any other radio or television work in this category in this region. So California, giant media market that you're screwed out of. And then the service, it's a government medical related, like, it doesn't mean that you're only conflicted out of doing stuff for, like, you know, the Social Security office or whatever. Like, there might be like private medical services companies that would view that as a conflict. So when GSK or Johnson & Johnson or someone like that comes knocking, wanting to give you 20 times this amount to be the voice of their next campaign, guess what? You might have conflicted yourself out in perpetuity, again, in perpetuity, for just $800. And you'll feel pretty stupid, won't you? This is, what are we paying for if we're constantly seeing either jobs with shit budgets or jobs that are absolutely improperly licensed? Like, what are we paying for? The point of Voices and Voice123 is to provide some kind of bar that must be cleared for both clients and talent. Clients benefit from having a barrier to entry for us talent, and that barrier to entry is an annual fee that, in some cases, depending on the tier that you choose, is a huge annual fee. So clients are served by that because they're not getting people in their bathroom speaking into their iPhone microphone. They're getting people in professionally built booths with professional gear and all of that. I'm not seeing the same barrier to entry on the client side as talent. I'm not seeing anything that keeps people from posting weird or just plain dog shit jobs. So where's the value for me? Why am I paying a big annual fee and on Voices paying 20% of every job that I book? When I have to wade through dozens and dozens of bullshit jobs that Voices could very well do a little bit of housekeeping, a little bit of barrier to entry, some kind of filter to prevent this garbage from coming through. I don't get it. Look at this, another one. It's probably the same client. Yeah, it is. It's the same client. Radio and television in perpetuity. Get the fuck out of here. Radio TV in perpetuity. This garbage off out of here. What are we paying for? Like, if you think, oh, Jimmy, you're just being dramatic, then to be frank, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, anyone who is serious about this industry agrees that like that kind of shit is absolutely outrageous. It's garbage. It does not belong on the pay to plays. Take that shit to Upwork and Fiverr. That's where the garbage work is. If you're out there and you're trying to do voice work by speaking into your iPhone, then Fiverr and Upwork, that's the place for you. Go there and you'll book garbage work like that, and everyone will be happy. But if you've invested tens of thousands of dollars into your equipment and into your training, then that's what the pay-to-plays should be for. They should be one avenue for you to acquire good, solid paying work. But then you come onto the pay-to-plays, now we're on Voice123, and you see shit like this, text-to-speech. What's the budget? $1,300 to give your voice away to be used however the fuck they want. They can make you say racist, anti-Semitic. They can make you say anything that they want. And all of this like, ooh, we're only going to use it for this. Nah. They're going to sub-license out your voice. They're going to sell it and then resell it and then resell it. There's going to be no accountability, and you will never be able to claw back any of that stuff. These clients, they're based in China. Are you going to sue them? Are you going to sue them in Chinese court? You're fucked once you give away your voice. This is an absolute career ender. And I asked, what's the budget? Because the budget for me to do a text-to-speech job, $1 million is the absolute minimum. And that's how you should be thinking about it too. If you're serious about doing this as a career, you need to view any text-to-speech or AI, voice training, whatever thing, you need to view that as a career ender. You need to view it as like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then I'll never be able to have meaningful work after this, because your Disneys, your big giant mega clients that you absolutely want to get, they're already starting to put in their contracts. Have you ever done one of these types of jobs? Because imagine that you're Disney, and you pay someone a six-figure contract to be the voice of whatever the next thing is, and then 6 months later, some AI version of that same voice that they've paid so much money for, this AI version comes out, and it's a social media ad for Stormfront or some other horrible place. Like, they're going to lose their minds, and so they're starting to protect themselves. So just my recommendation, don't do it. And I say $1 million is my minimum, because $1 million allows me to put it into a fund that'll pay me out 5% per year. That's $50,000. That's enough for me to sort of like coast on until I find a new career, because that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to find a new career after you give your voice away for a text-to-speech thing. So, and I could... the lovely people at Voice123 have told me several times, like, you can like filter it out to where you don't see these text-to-speech jobs. No. I want to see them. I want to see the garbage that continues to flood the feeds here. There used to be a category here where you could put AI/TTS. There used to be a thing here. I wonder why they removed it. Like, yeah. This is just... Let's take a look here. Let's decline this one too. There we go. All right, and back. Now I need to come off of full screen just for a moment here, just so I can make sure that none of these remaining 3 clients are showing their full first and last name, and no one is. That's great. Okay. NWMS, Fishing Memories Grandpa. So, for dad, grandpa only. Grandpa talking to his adult son while they fish. $50 is the budget. The NWS, that's the National Wildlife Management Service, I think. Like, are you telling me they don't have more than $50? Or is this, agency taking such a huge cut that that's all that they're going to pass along to the talent? Just at every stage, like someone just has to take their cut. And how much? So there's only like 2 lines. That's fine, I guess. We've got no licensing. It says paid media none. Is it? Is it none? No paid media? Then why are you creating what is obviously an ad? Yeah, we're going to pass on that. Let's take a look at this one. Reliant. Uncle Bob Squeezy Grippers. Think overconfident chauvinist male, a bit buffoon-like, highly funny, yet in his own mind, highly serious. Okay, let's take a look at this. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Maybe we do this one. I mean, it's kind of silly. I mean, that's obviously the intent is for it to be silly. Thank you, hon, but I'm a man, Susie Q. I can fix this air conditioner thingy on my own. Thank you, hon, but I'm a man, Susie Q. I can fix this air conditioner thingy on my own. They've written ba, but they're obviously leaving that open to your interpretation of the walla there. This air conditioner thingy on my own. Hand me the hand me the little squeezy grippers. Whatever. Whatever. They're right next to the poke and twister. Sure. They haven't asked for any kind of southern or redneck kind of accent, but that's just how I'm interpreting this. That's, Thank you, hon, but I'm a man, Susie Q. I can fix this air conditioner thingy on my own. And then we're coming to this one, right? Air conditioner thingy on my own. Whatever. Nope. Is it? Wait. Where is that? They've written... Oh, right. All right. Okay. Everybody calm down here. I think this is it. Hand me the little squeezy grippers. And then, what is this grippers? Whatever. Here we go. Whatever. Whatever. They're right next to the poke. Okay. Thingy on my own. Hand me the little squeezy grippers. Whatever. They're right next to the poke and twister. Sure. Reliant. Uncle Bill. We've got only 5 proposals ahead of us in line. So there we go. Take a look there, and we're good to go here. Let's get the next one ready to go. Let's see if this last job is something that we're interested in at all. Misto voiceover. Okay. We're looking for like a Sam Elliott Let's take a look. Hello? Why is my... Okay. Let's arm that. Here we go. Freddie is the Chief Executive Officer at Misto, which creates financial and HR tools for small businesses. Freddie is working on an exciting new project. It's been top secret. Freddie and his team are working on an AI assistant. They know there are lots of AI assistants out there. Russ brings knowledge and how... Okay. Who wrote this? All right, we're gonna look at this reference. A Tom Waits VO.
This is John Baldessari's pencil. This is John Baldessari's chair.
Tom Waits. Tom Waits. I don't get it. Tom Waits is like Rothko. Rothko paintings. I don't fucking get it, man. That's a scam. It's an absolute scam. And Tom Waits, I feel like it's the same thing. It's like, all right, man, like, I guess I believe people when they say that they really like it. Some people like really like Rothko, or at least they say they do, maybe because they think it makes them seem interesting. But there's nothing less interesting on the planet to me than a Rothko. So anyway, let's move on. Freddie is the Chief Executive Officer at Misto, which creates financial and HR tools for small businesses. Freddie is working on an exciting new project. It's been top secret. Freddie and his team are working on an AI assistant. They know there are lots of AI assistants out there. Russ brings knowledge and how... Lots of... Let's do it. We need to be a little slower. We need more space. Take our time with this. Freddie is the Chief Executive Officer at Misto, which creates financial and HR tools for small business. Freddie is the Chief Executive Officer at Misto, which creates financial and HR tools for small businesses. Freddie is working on an exciting new project. It's been top secret. Freddie and his team are working on an AI assistant. They know there are lots of AI assistants out there. Russ brings knowledge and know-how to small business owners who want to have a lot of questions. Now to small business owners. I can't see. Here we go. Of AI assistants out there. Russ brings knowledge and know-how to small business owners who want to have a lot of questions, and even more do. Russ is already working with small businesses, and even more do. Russ is already working with small businesses. This is Dawn. Dawn owns a bake shop in Seattle. Dawn's donuts are selling like hotcakes, and she wants to keep her hard-working team happy. Dawn owns a bake shop in Seattle. Dawn's donuts are selling like hotcakes, and she wants to keep her hard-working team happy. Russ knows how much bread Dawn's making and how much dough she needs. If she wants to keep up with the industry, she should give her team a 5% raise. Russ can pull the numbers. Her team a 5% raise. Russ can pull the numbers. That's where we're going to stop it. 50 to 60 seconds is the standard to give for an audition. You do not need to read all of this entire piece of copy. I went a little bit longer than 60 seconds because I wanted to find like a natural sort of ending point. So that second section there where we wrap up Dawn's little story here. that felt like a natural ending point, and that puts us right at a minute. So that was a perfect place to stop it there. So here we go. This is Misto. What are we calling this? Misto. Okay, just Misto then. Accept. Misto. There we go. Boom. All right. And that is everything on voices.com and Voice123. Let's refresh both to make sure. And indeed, we have finished those. Let's head over to ACX.com and see if there's anything interesting here for us. Now, we have talked about this. I am slammed with audiobook work right now. I am booked all the way out to 2025. So I'm not hungry by any means for audiobook work. And in fact, I've basically skipped on a couple of really, really interesting projects that we've seen in the ACX feed and not even auditioned for them because I just do not have the time. But we'll take a look at what's here and we'll talk about why, if we weren't so busy, why we might or might not do those jobs. So looking at what we've got here, I have seen this job and everything older than it. So we'll open up all these other ones in a new tab each, and we'll go through one at a time, and we'll decide why or why not we want to consider these. So starting with this, family is not everything. Now immediately this art makes me go like, how old is this book? This seems very like 90s sort of clip art cartoony kind of style. Original publication date 2018. You always have to ask the question like, why now? Why is this being turned into an audiobook now when it was published in 2018? So that's a little concerning. But they've given plenty of good, information here. When I say it's concerning, I mean it's concerning so I'm looking at per finished hour rates, not royalty share. None of this is royalty share. If this was a royalty share, just that, the publication date alone would be a mega, mega red flag. And would almost certainly disqualify any project. If it's royalty share, like there needs to be excellent justification and lots of other factors that will balance out something like a 2018 publication date for royalty share. For per finished hour, whatever. If someone wants to give you a bucket of cash to read their book that was published 6 years ago, that's their business. So go ahead and take that money. But let's take a look here. I'm looking for a voice that can read the stories with emotion as if it was happening to them, but the lessons learned, affirmations, activities, etc. with inspiration and authority. So you're looking for an audiobook narrator. Cool. You'll find it. They're looking for a female narrator, so obviously this wouldn't be for us to begin with, but I don't think that... I mean, maybe. Like, these... It's long enough to where this is not a bad thing to have in your portfolio. Usually when you see things that look like this and like that have similar sort of self-help type vibes or whatever, you see a lot of those things that are under 3 hours, and that's where you really need to consider what it's going to do in your portfolio. If you meet someone who works at a big publisher and they go, "Oh, you're an audiobook narrator. That's great. How many books have you narrated?" And you say, "I've narrated 40." They go, "Wow, so you're like established. You're really working. That's great." And then later, if they look you up and they see that those 40 books are all like 1 hour little mini audiobooks, they're going to feel like you misled them, that you misrepresented your portfolio. Doing like 1 to 3 hour audiobooks, those aren't audiobooks. Those are pamphlets. You're reading brochures. Those are not real audiobooks. They just aren't. They can be great cash. And if you're a children's audiobook narrator, that's totally different. That's like an entirely different world, and obviously those are going to be shorter. So that's fine. But if you're a broad audiobook narrator, then you really need to watch out for those projects. Usually you won't see those in this price bucket. And this is still pretty short, but no one would argue that this was not like a real book. So good luck for whoever gets this. This is a real job. Go for it. Dang. A humorous mystery. This cover is something else. See, this is traditionally, this is the kind of stuff that, like, notes from the right holder. This is where they'll put like what their social media following is, what their marketing plan is, and all that's great information if it's a royalty share. But again, this is a per finished hour book. I don't care what your marketing plan is, really. Like, I hope your book's successful, but at the end of the day, you're giving me a bucket of cash, and that's the end of the transaction. Like, if you want to come back to me for a sequel, again, like, you hope the book does well because you want them to be satisfied enough with the performance of book 1 that they come back to you for book 2. But it's not your job, and it's not your concern as a narrator when you're working for a per finished hour fixed rate. It's not your job to market or to worry about the marketing. Let's see if it's a voiceover job, and it is. We're going to take a look at it real quick. I believe I saw the words tobacco. So we talked a little bit when we were looking at the gambling stuff about, moral yeses and nos. I don't have a problem reading for a tobacco brand. It's 2024. People know that it's dangerous. So we're gonna read this. Like, let's do it. This client is based in Texas. That's all we know. Greatness. It's not something you're born with. Nah, it's something you have to earn. You have to be strong enough to stand up for what you believe in, to do hard things that others won't. For all those in search of greatness, we're right beside you. We're great country. Great taste at a price everyone can afford. And 100% made in the greatest country on earth. We're going to call that good enough. We're going to do 0 editing on that. And we're going to submit it. Great country. There we go. Let's see how many people get in front of me in line 600. Here's the file. Already two people in line ahead of us. And there you go. That took us, 2, maybe 3 minutes to go from receiving the email to hitting submit on our audition. And if you can't do that, then you're not ready for the pay-to-plays. You need to practice. Audiobook work is great practice for getting a good read, like a quick read down, for being quick at your edit. And you need to work on your, I see people all the time showing like screenshots of their like workflow process where, like, for RX, their denoiser, they're like bouncing things out of Audacity into RX and then bouncing out of there back into Audacity and then doing normalization and then bouncing out. They've got like 6 steps. Whereas you see what we're doing here in Pro Tools, you hit export and it's good to go. Like, set up your mastering chain, get your stuff set up, move on from Audacity as soon as you can afford it. So that you can have a permanent mastering chain set up, so that you can have RX serving as a plugin and not having to bounce out to the standalone. All of that's super important so that you can do this job quick. Because if you can't be that quick as we just were, then you're not ready. You're not ready for the pay-to-plays, and you're probably not ready for a lot of other stuff. Like, I don't mean that to be like dismissive of people or to like make people feel ashamed or anything like that, but you just need to have a realistic understanding of your own abilities and work on those abilities. So do some audiobook work, because that should make you faster and faster and faster. Being able to edit as fast as we're able to, it's because I've done nearly 40 audiobooks. Let's take a look at here. So we've got this job here. They're looking for male, American Southern, interesting. And this is going to be a funny title, and that's great. Like, cool. Let's just look at the audition script. Again, we're not going to audition. We just have no, even though it's only a 4-hour book, I don't have time to add a 4-hour book to my calendar. Chapter 2. Sheriff Calvin Happy Maddox and Deputy Calvin Maddox Jr., CJ for short, rolled to a stop in front of Willem's truck. Sheriff Happy stretched his long left leg out of the car and placed his size 14 foot on the ground as he stepped out of his vehicle. Deputy CJ bounced in the passenger seat as the car sprang back to its usual height. Law enforcement was the Maddox family business. Sheriff Happy replaced his father, Sheriff Pappy, who replaced his father, Sheriff Poppy, as the head of county law enforcement. And so on and so forth. So we got fucking vampires? Vampire? Oh, okay. Whatever. That's good, solid copy. It's an appropriate length. That's going to put you at 3 to 5 minutes. We talked about voiceover. 50 to 60 seconds is the standard for audiobooks. 3 to 5 minutes for an audition is the standard there. So it looks like they cut that to about the right length. So this thing seems like it's a great job, great opportunity for someone out there. Go out there, audition for this, and get this job. It's a good one. Wind's Embrace, Provenance, A Cultivation Story, Book 1. Interesting to note that the art here is improperly formatted. This will get rejected by ACX because this is the full like proof copy. This is what would get printed so that it would wrap around. This is the spine of the book. This is front cover. This is back cover. And that's great that the author has this, but what they're going to need is they're going to need to take the front cover, they're going to need to squish it down into a square format, and they're going to have to include your name as the narrator. So they're putting this up as a placeholder, and that is great. I would rather see this so that I can go like, okay, this looks like real art, and it looks great. It's great looking art. I'd rather see that than to see like image pending or just some placeholder that's no good. So that's all good. Taking a look here. This all looks good. The book released last week, and so there's no Amazon ratings yet. It takes a while for those to populate through. It might already be on Amazon, maybe, especially if they did pre-reviews. They didn't. They've got no reviews yet, but that's fine. Those things take time to start to roll in, and it takes even longer for them to roll from Amazon into the ACX site. So sometimes you'll see something that has 0 ratings according to the ACX page, but if you look at it actually on Amazon, it will have ratings there. Just wild. Oh my God. This, maybe they get a lot of auditions in the past where the narrator couldn't do that. Male voice requested, but the male voice must be able to do multiple unique female voices, as 3/5 of the main characters are female. Makes me question, like, so why don't you want a female narrator? But men should be able, as professional audiobook narrators, men should be able to do women's voices. I've done plenty of live streams on this channel, narrating audiobooks, and the way that you do women's voices is you do not do some outrageous, ooh, like you don't do that. The way that I narrate women is you put just a little bit of breath. That's all you do. This is my women's voice. Let's read. Provenance is a world built on dreams. Sleeper's sand, the energy of a cultivator, saturates the known world. That's my women's voice. Same pitch that I speak in normally. So it's not a pitch thing. You just add a little bit of breath. And that's not to say that's how women talk or how they sound. There is no one way that any person of any gender sounds. But in a storytelling context, for my voice, the listener understands. When that breath comes in, the listener just automatically, there's no like, ooh, what's happening? They automatically get it. And that's just how we've been sort of conditioned as listeners. It works. And I've had many authors who have booked me have said, like, thank you. Like, so many of these auditions, the men in particular would put on these outrageous voices. And likewise for ladies, or for my non-binary friends who perhaps have higher voices to begin with, when you are reading male voices, you don't necessarily have to try to do a deep voice or whatever. Maybe just put a little bit of grit, a little bit of gravel into the voice. Do whatever. There's a whole different technique there that I don't know how to talk about it really, because I don't have that issue. But there's definitely a different technique. And so if you want to do any kind of fiction, even nonfiction though, you know, voices come up. You're relaying real conversations when you're reading biographies, memoirs, histories, things like that. So don't think that you like, oh, like I don't need to do voices because I'll just do nonfiction. Like, no. There's plenty of character work to be done in nonfiction. So you got to put in the work and figure out how to do it for yourself there. This looks like a textbook, right? Driving value with sprint goals, humble plans, exceptional results. So, yep, this is definitely a textbook. And this very much looks like the kind of stuff that I did in my MBA. So this would be a nightmare. So this would probably be, and like, actually, let's look at the audition and see if they're giving an example of the kind of stuff. Yeah, okay. So the challenge of reading any kind of textbook or things like that. So, and here's a great example. I'm saying you're going to have to do character work. Look at this. Right at the beginning of this chapter, there's a quote. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So it starts out easy enough. Chapter 2. More friction, more surprises. And then you've got a quote. The greatest obstacle to discovery is not ignorance. It is the illusion of knowledge. Daniel J. Boorstin. In the previous chapter, we covered how developing software products is predominantly, like, yeah, I didn't do a voice, and if that was a female quote, I wouldn't have necessarily done a female voice for that, but it's something that you have to be aware of. Moving down here, though, the hard part, and it's good that they put this in the audition because you're going to need to figure this out. Now, you might actually be able to completely fix this. Skip this, rather, is what I meant. So I'm going to start at this paragraph, and just based on what we read there, decide if we think for the audition and for the final product, it would be okay to completely skip this graphic. We're going to call this the Cinefin. That's how we're going to pronounce that. It's Welsh, so God knows how it's pronounced. It might be Cinefin or something. The Cinefin model provides 5 decision-making contexts called domains, which all start with the letter C. Clear, complicated, complex, chaotic, and confusion. Awareness of the kind of environment you are operating in means you realize the extent to which friction plays a role, and this helps to determine the right course of action. The 5 Cinefin domains and the... Here, I think you could skip this. Unless, let's take a look at the description here. Direct quotes. Okay. They're asking for a lot here. Okay. This is very, very annoying here that text formatting gets completely destroyed on ACX. So these are supposed to be bullet points, the ampersand BULL semicolon. So that's supposed to be a bullet point. For all figures, read the figure description and always refer listeners to the PDF accompanying the audiobook. Okay, so this is great. On Audible, when people download an audiobook, there's an option that authors, rights holders have to include a PDF accompaniment to the audiobook. So in the Audible app, like it'll be next to like chapter selection, or it might even be in chapter selection, but like you can like boom, and right there within the app, the PDF will be there to where you can actually scroll through and look at pictures or whatever they've got. And so for the audiobook version, rather than being able to see the graphics, what you would do is in place of that graphic, you would have some kind of text, and you would want to pre-write this out so that you knew exactly, it was the same wording, the same format every time, something like, for figure 2.1, please refer to the PDF accompaniment that came with this audiobook, page 9. Maybe something like that. And then here, for the key takeaways that should be narrated, if possible, use some cue or sound effect. I don't think that's necessary. I think that once you are done giving your little refer to the PDF, go, key takeaways. Applying the wrong decision model based on the domain you're operating in can mean you're actively undermining yourself. When you can't make predictions, even with the right expertise and cause and effect, I don't think you need a cue for these. If they really, really want one, whatever, you can do that. And you can find that you can go and look for some royalty-free sound effects and stuff. There's plenty of that kind of stuff out there. In the past, when I've had to do an audio cue type thing in an audiobook project, I created a bunch of my own and sent the author 10 options. Some of them were like little short piano flourishes. Some were like a simple single tone. I think on that one, the tone that they ended up going for was just, it was a keyboard sound. I think it was a Wurlitzer or a Rhodes, a very signature keyboard sound, and it was just one note. Bung! That's it. That's the one that they liked. So you'll have to work with the rights holders here to make sure they're happy with all that stuff. So this would be, it's up in a budget to where it's potentially worth, everyone values their time differently, but up in this budget, that's worth my time to like spend a little bit extra time making sure that all of these things are appropriately handled. From what I saw there, it's well written for a textbook. It's not terribly dense. It's written in, perfectly intelligible English. And so it's not super unnatural and wordy and everything. And doing these, doing the little tones and stuff like that, not a big deal for me anyway. And working with the PDF and stuff, the PDF is actually, it's mostly on the rights holders. It's on them to get that produced and to get it loaded into ACX. They have to send emails with ACX support to get that all incorporated and everything. So you don't really have to do much other than be aware of what you have to do when a figure comes up that you have to refer to the document for. I have produced the PDF document for a client before, but I charged them for it. It was really short, really simple. They had all the images ready to go. I was like, tell you what, send me one email with all of the images, like in a zip file or on a Google Drive folder or something like that. And I was like, $50. And it took me 5 minutes. Put together the PDF, made sure it was formatted according to what ACX wanted. It took me about 5 minutes. Hey, extra $50. Not bad. And it was a fun learning experiment. And that might be why you want to take this on, because it would be a good learning exercise, decent paying project, nearly 8 hours at $200 to $400 per finished hour. My standard rate is $250 per finished hour. For something like this, I would actually probably be like, hey, my standard rate is $250, but because of all this shit that you want, we're going to need more. We're going to need $280, $300, $320. We're going to need some higher amount per finished hour, and you negotiate, and if they like you, and they're going to try their best to make the deal work. All right, moving on. Okay, these three are all written by the same author. So let's look at this one first. Immortal Fairy Tale Series Book 1. They are looking for a British man to read. This isn't something that I would audition for, obviously because I'm not British, but even if not for that, romance just isn't for me. That's I've never been hired for romance. Even the books that I read, like, rarely is there any romance in them, and I'm okay with that. It's not that I'm squeamish or that I'm prudish or anything like that. It's just that this voice doesn't really lend itself to, like, tender kisses or blah, blah, blah. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And so I'm okay with that. A constant refrain on this live stream is voice talent, know thyself. And I know that I'm not a romance person. But this looks like a good project if romance is something that you're interested in doing. 7 hours, good rate. This author has plenty of traffic. Like, this would be a good thing in your portfolio for sure. I would be curious about why now? Why, if this book was released in 2021, but it looks like maybe they only recently reacquired the audio rights, or they set a bunch of money aside and now they're going to do a bunch of audiobooks all at once. All of that's fine. Let's close that. Let's take a look at this here. Friend Zone Series Book 2 and Book 3 are up on ACX. What's up with Book 1? We're going to open this in an incognito window. I don't want Amazon thinking I want the Friends with Benefits series here. Let's look at View Full Series, Book 1, audiobook. Let's hear the sample.
There was no way to escape. Trust me, I checked.
So I'm so curious. This has 2 narrators, Allie and Gideon. Why? What happened to them? That sounded fine to me. Why are those narrators not available? You've got to looking for a male-female dual team. You know, if you've got a narration partner or whatever, and you want to give this a shot, absolutely go for it. It looks like this author sells plenty of books, so this would be a great thing, and probably lots of follow-on work to come, because clearly they've written at least 3 or 4 titles, so they're probably going to keep doing it. So good to look ahead and have some extra follow-on work in the future, especially if it's paying well like this stuff is. But very early in your negotiations, if you do an audition, very early you ask. It's okay to ask. Hey, can I ask, like, what happened with Amy and Gideon or whatever their names were? Hey, what happened with those other narrators? Can I ask? And hopefully they tell you, like, oh, they were too busy. They couldn't work on the timeline that I needed for these books or whatever. But it's important that you understand, like, what's going on, because as much as you want to get jobs and everything like that, you don't want to get shitty jobs that are going to make your life miserable. Okay, this is a crap job. You don't want to do this one. 0.8 hours. This is not a real thing. This is a brochure. This is a pamphlet. I don't know why they want so bad to have this an audiobook, like where this could be a podcast. This is a podcast. It's not an audiobook. I think some people out there just think that there's some kind of extra prestige of saying, oh, I have an audiobook. No, you don't. You have a podcast, a single episode of a podcast. But whatever. One thing to note, that if you do want to do this one, I think ACX does this automatically. But even if it doesn't, you need to discuss this. If the book comes out to 0.8 hours, which is 48 minutes. 48 minutes. You need to get paid for 60 minutes. Anything under 1 hour, like the minimum billing amount is 1 hour. If it's 1.2 hours, then you get paid for 1.2 hours. But if it's anything under 1, you get paid for 1. So whatever your rate that you quote is, say it's $250, if it comes out to 0.8 hours, you're getting $250. And you need to make sure, again, I don't know that ACX does that for you automatically. ACX might calculate, 0.8, and then even though you quoted $250 per finished hour, the calculation comes back at $200. So you need to have that conversation before work begins to say, hey, understand that whatever the quote comes back as from ACX, I need $250. End of story. But again, I don't recommend doing this. It's going to look like shit in your portfolio. This art, oh my God, no. It's like, I doubt they own the rights to these photos. This is standard, like they grabbed this off of a template. We've got these ugly white banners. Like, what is this, dead space? We've got text that isn't centered on this band, isn't centered here. We've got, oh my God, we've got three different total fonts with 2 different kinds of drop shadows. You don't want to do this one. You don't want to do this job. You don't want this in your portfolio. Do it under a pseudonym if you must. Like $250. Sure, yeah, I'll take $250. But don't do it under your like main narrating name, because this is poison is too strong of a word. It won't look good in your portfolio to have something like this in it. It would look fine in an e-learning portfolio. Like if you are trying to do some e-learning work, the kind of stuff that shows up frequently on Voices and Voice123, this is great e-learning content, absolutely. And that's really where this belongs. I don't know why they want it to be an audiobook, but whatever. So if you're doing e-learning stuff, like absolutely do it, get the job, do it, and then on your voiceover website, not on your audiobook narrator focused website, but on your voiceover, on your e-learning section, yeah, hell yeah, put this there. Like, yeah, I did this. And it's like, it shows that, because e-learning tends to be on the order of, sometimes an hour, sometimes more. And so it shows potential clients that, hey, you can do these longer jobs. You can do a 48-minute job and you can get it turned around quick and it'll sound great and be compliant and do all the things that it needs to do. So there you go. But otherwise, okay, and that's everything there. And we're not going to look at any more. We're going to look at this last job that just showed up at Voice123. Scripture reading. Generally speaking, like religious stuff, I'm not the right narrator for it. But narrating scripture, there's a voice that tends to be evoked, and I like that. I like delivering that voice. It's interesting to me. I would love to know more about this client, but why not? Purpose of the recording, promo, interesting, whatever. We'll do one last job here for the stream before we say goodbye, so let's do it. If my people who are called by my name humble themselves. More reverence, you need more of that tone there. If my people who are called by my name humble themselves, and pray and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and heal their land. All right. There we go. And, for certain kinds of jobs, for something that short, whoa. You might give them 2 reads, or maybe even 3 with something that's short. But nah, I'm not going to do that. Sure, reading. Go. Accept. Please. Let go. And there we go. All right, that's submitted. And again, nothing on voices.com. All right. So that is where we're going to call the stream. I've got some audiobook work to get to, and it is hot as hell in this booth. I'm sure I'm quite shiny. And that's just life as an audiobook or as voice talent. Anyone spending their summers in a booth they're going to get a little a little toasty here. So I'm going to kick on some HVAC and take a break, maybe get something to eat. And I'm going to do a ton of audiobook work today. So I hope that your auditions are going well. I hope that you're booking all kinds of stuff and having loads of fun doing it. If you would like to hire me to talk for you, you can head over to veteranaudio.com. My contact information is the first thing that you'll see. You'll find my demos so you can hear me in action, and you can get in contact with me and pay me dollars to say words for you. I will be back live again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll do some more auditions. Please give me, all the like, the follow. You know what to do on Twitch as well as on YouTube. If on YouTube you want to leave a comment, I do see those, and I respond to the comments that do come in. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, so I hope that you're having a good one, and stay safe and enjoy your auditions, y'all. Love y'all.